You got the win, but you lost a couple of guys along the way. They will miss Jaylen Watson. We're going to break it down for you tonight, answer all your questions, and get after it as soon as we get back from this. Folks, welcome in. It's Monday Night Football. Make sure, if you want to get in the action, that you check out BetUS. You can get a 150 sign-up bonus right now, up to $2K, up to 3 times. And our pals, use that code YouTube150, and you get the link down in the description. It's definitely there for you, and we appreciate you. I'm excited to be here because I had a nice bet on the line earlier in the season about who would be the last surviving undefeated team. Guess who I bet on?
There you go. Hey, there you go.
It's been a good day. It's been a good day. Now, not for everyone. The Chiefs are 6-0. They are atop the AFC, atop the NFL, but they lost a couple of guys. We're going to get into that. We're going to answer all of your questions. This is your show. Live Q&A on Monday night is what we do. He's Dan Harms. I'm Ryan Tracy. This is RGR Football. Thank you for being here. Like, sub, hit the bell. Ask us your questions. Every Super Chat gets an answer tonight, no matter what. And every topic will be addressed as we go through. We're going to break it at an hour, if not before, depending on the way that the ball game goes, because everybody loves Monday Night Football. So do we. So we're going to get after it here. Jaylen Watson reported as a fracture. Haven't seen that confirmed officially by the team, but everything that I'm hearing from every source that I have is, yeah, that's absolutely right. Here's the thing. An ankle fracture can be a number of things. It can be a hairline fracture of the long bones, the tibia, the fibia, that is just down low at the proximal end, right? I'm sorry, the distal end. That heals up. That's maybe a 6 or 8 week injury, right? You could have the talus, the structure that it sits on, fracture in half and be done for a year. You could have a midfoot sprain, strain, break. My daughter broke a Boyd bone. There are all these different timelines. We have no idea. And anyone who tells you they have an idea, if they don't work for one organization called the Kansas City Chiefs, they don't know either. So that said, Dan, how critical is this? You just broke him down in a film room last week. What does this do to this team?
Honestly, it sucks because he was not just playing like what he was doing, being asked to do the seasons before. He had taken that cornerback 2 spot and he was playing like an elite level corner. And you hate to see that when it happens when they're in those situations. And then he's ascending, coming out of a bye, playing really well against the 49ers, and then you see him go down. It hurts the team. You don't get to just get out of that. You lost L'Jarius Sneed to free agency, to the trade last offseason because you felt somebody would step up. Jaylen Watson did that because Joshua Williams didn't do it, and Najee Johnson was coming back from injury. So you really didn't know what to do. And now you're putting more pressure on Najee Johnson to play better than he has in spurts this season. But I think what you have to do is give the initial reps to Joshua Williams, who has played in those spots before. He has the experience that Najee Johnson doesn't have. And I think what we saw was when it was getting him those 3 cornerback sets, that's when they tried to get him on the field more. With Joshua Williams, yes, you're going to be probably at a disadvantage in your zone. I think you might, or even just at double moves and things like that. But he has that experience. There's no way around it. You're hurt. It's hurting your defense. And really this year it's been the coverage over the pressure, which is the reason they've been able to generate some pressure in some of the situations because the coverage has been so fantastic. So they're going to have to maybe dial up some more pressure and ask for guys like George Karlaftis, Tershawn Wharton, and FAU to start carrying more of this load until, Omenihu comes back, because they haven't been great in pass rush this year.
Well, I have another concept. And by the way, the thing we talked about before we went on, I did lose all of it. It's all gone. So,
okay. Gotcha. Cool.
The first comment that I see there is Shane, and he brings up what I was just going to say. They gave Cam Thomas 3 reps yesterday. 3. Yeah. He's another guy that can ramp up, and you can have more rotation at least at pass rush. I didn't see anything wrong with him in the preseason. He looked good. He looked healthy. Maybe something happened we don't know about. We'll find that out. But it will protect the back end. And I'm glad you brought it up because I was going to say the same thing. In fact, I did on Locked On. You guys should see that here shortly. I do think they might go with Joshua just to give him a shot because of the experience factor. I don't know if that's the right way, but I feel like that's an option there, and we'll just have to see how they choose to do it.
Yeah, I'm with you. And with that, you guys, that's really the big news right now. There's no active trade market stuff. I'm sure over the next week we'll hear some rumblings here and there. But let's go ahead and get to your guys' questions, right? We're starting off with Addict's question here. Maybe this is a dumb question. There are no dumb questions, just ask away that we'll answer whatever they are. If Hollywood isn't available till later in the year, how does that affect Beach's desire to bring him back next year? So we've kind of handled some of these already to this point, but I'll start off by saying that if anything, it helps bring him back cheaper because he doesn't have anything to say, I deserve more money. Well, no, you don't. Unless he comes into the postseason and he has 3 straight 100-yard games and he helps them win a Super Bowl, you got an argument. But if you don't come in and you do that, then the Chiefs have far more negotiating tactics. How do you feel about it?
I agree with you. And honestly, that said, I will say there's an asterisk. So if you're a Hollywood fan and you work for Hollywood and you're trying to get as much money as you can get, like Ayuk just got before he got hurt, there is that thing to say, hey, I'm just going to show up in the playoffs and absolutely explode. And I'm going to make myself indispensable and you're going to pay me. And I'll happily fork over the cash. I will tell you that because Brett Veach owns the checkbook and it ain't mine, but I'll write the check anyway. So, but yeah, it allows you to try to extend what you have now as a deal rather than doing the giant. Most guys are going to look at his age for like a 3-year deal that is the maximum of what they can get. And so I think this does delay that. Year after that might be a whole different story, but you never know. Now, the other thing is that it's Juju that I think is going to be out a lot more temporarily, but he will be out this week. I think he might miss another week. We're going to find out. But they have options. And we're going to get, I'm sure, a ton of trade question here in here tonight. But I will just tell you this. You got to look internally as well. Because I had somebody hit me up, I think in the RGR comments, about how, all Patrick's throwing this year is 50-50 balls anyway, so why not bring up Justin Ross? And my response to him was very clear. What he's doing now is not jump balls. He's throwing to receivers who aren't getting separation. There's a difference. Yes, the coverage is just as close, but it's because of the fault of the separator, not because of the design of the play. And here's the thing. You have 2 guys, I believe, on the practice squad that can separate right now in Washington and Remigio, and I think they should give them at least a look and see what they can try to ramp up to there. How do you feel about it?
At least Remigio. We know that he's played, in the preseason. He hasn't gotten any active reps, but we know that he's been on the roster bubble multiple times, and there's at least some interest there. There's something that he gives you, quick twitch, getting open to those quick areas, quick slants, things like that. You could help build this offense because this offense is built on throw the football, maybe 3 yards past the line of scrimmage and get yards after the catch. That's what they want to do. And I think that Remigio can do that. What up? Oh yeah.
I think you can too.
I mean, I'll be very honest with you guys. I got 1 rep. I got, Coach Reed, I'll give you 1. I'll give you 1 rep. And if you guys like what you see, we'll talk, but I can give you one rep, and that might be all I got because I might get hit, and it might be over after that. But yeah,
the little one needs you. Let's keep it safe.
Quick
shout out for me, Wild Blue Yonder, for the West Coast IPA that they gave me over the weekend. I appreciate you guys. I'm always somewhere, and you can see more on this over at RGR Craft. Soon to be rebranded, and you might even see a very familiar face from this chat over there very soon. After you, I didn't mean to cut you off. I apologize.
No, you're good, man. We just got a faithful here with a nice $4.99 donation, as we always do with our super chats. Every single super chat will get an answer, as always. Is there a red zone threat on this team? If so, are they using him? Well, this is a very loaded question because Andy Reid does not care about your definition of a red zone threat. He is not about that life. He doesn't do the fades. We don't do any of that stuff. Every player in Andy Reid's offense is quote unquote a red zone threat because all he wants to do is scheme you open. And guess what? You can't really do in the red zone when you're inside the 5-yard line. Scheme guys open. So it really becomes difficult to do such things. So unfortunately, the answer to your question is yes and no.
You're absolutely right. Usage is a whole different thing than capability. And I will tell you this, for those that want to see Ross, I think he could be a red zone threat in terms specifically if you're going to throw that corner fade. But I think they prefer Jody Fortson going across the back of the end zone than they do throwing it into a corner blindly. I just think that's the way that they do it. And I think they trust Jody. Now that he's back, I think that does have an effect directly on Justin Ross and his availability or usage, at least at that point. Faithful, thank you for your question. And I do appreciate you. And I mistakenly clicked one other one that was about Cam Thomas. Apologies. I think he did do enough to warrant more snaps. I mentioned him earlier, but we'll just keep seeing what he gets and go from there.
Yeah, we'll see. When you get 3 snaps, it's really hard to show that you deserve more reps. So we'll kind of just take it as it goes on that one. Lee, appreciate you. 2 questions. How much blame do you put on Nagy for the offensive woes for last year and this year? And what are the realistic wide receiver moves? So right off the bat, I'm going to end up putting this to Ryan, but we have a ton of the wide receiver moves questions. So I want to make sure we go through and maybe get a couple of them up on the screen so you guys don't think we just glossed over your questions. I'm going to go through the chat. We've got John Coy here with real wide receiver possibilities. Also, Micah has, are the coaches stuck on playing Sky over Nico? That might be more of a question we can actually dig into, but a ton of real wide receiver stuff. Like, are they going to trade a wide receiver from Quinn here? So we're going to bundle this all into one, guys. Again, I don't want to skip over you guys. I know wide receiver is a big hit right now. So we're going to go ahead and we're going to talk about it right now with Lee's question. So what do you think, Ryan?
Realistic wide receiver moves. With the fact that Deontay Johnson played this weekend, I think he's a legitimate trade target.
Mm-hmm.
Of the other popular guys, I don't think D-Hop's bringing anything to this roster you don't have. Again, he is a contested catch specialist they will not use correctly for his style of play. I don't think necessarily that Christian Kirk is a fit because you do inherit that contract, which last time I checked has 2 years left at multiple $1 million that he is not earning right now. So why would we pay it? I don't think that's going to happen. I think it's an outside chance on Slayton. But I think Johnson is the only option left here, unless they're trying to pry. I can't see them like going in with a crowbar to get Demarcus Robinson out of LA, but that's like the long shot because I know they like him and I know they think he can come back in and fit in. Other than that, I'm like fresh out of ideas. Those are the fits that I see. Do you have something else?
I mean, not really. There's just not a ton of, at least that we know of, guys that are available via trade that fit what Andy Reid's looking for that will be cheap and players that you can figure out. I know they traded for, Kadarius Toney a few years ago, but that was different. In I don't know what they're going to be doing at this point. It seems to me more and more likely with MVS signing with the Saints today, that they're going to have to go ahead and trade for somebody else at this point and not bring back MVS because you can't do it now. But I think the realistic stuff is what Ryan laid out. And if they're going to go get a guy like Christian Kirk, which I think scheme-wise does make some sense, but the money makes no sense. You'd have to make moves, and I don't think that's what they want to do. I think they want to get somebody like a Darius Slayton or DeMarcus Robinson that's going to be less cost. There'd be more cost-effective. And if they can find a way to get Deontay Johnson, that'd be great. That'd be fantastic. I just don't, at this point, know if they're going to do that. To answer your first question, I put 0 offensive blame on Matt Nagy. 0. It all goes to Andy Reid. It's Andy Reid's fault. Okay, it's what this for me comes down to, and we've done it every single season with former offensive coordinators and former things like that. Okay, so I won't say 100% Andy Reid. Execution too. Execution on the offensive side needs to happen a little bit better, and we probably have a better understanding of what they're bad at, what they're good at. But they were 4 for 5 yesterday with red zone offense. Much better. Really good. Much better. In the grand scheme of things, like yesterday felt like a slog, but every single week they're losing wide receivers, it seems, that are part of their game plan. And it's hard to just throw guys out there and execute the same game plan with guys that you didn't prepare to have that situation. So a little bit of grace in my mind from this.
Yeah, I can understand where you're coming from. I'm a slightly different point of view only because I'm feeding in what I know about the way this has worked in the past. And I'm not trying to say that Matt Nagy is Eric Bieniemy, but he does have some input. It ain't much. I'll put 10% on Matt Nagy, and I will split it right down the middle, 45% and 45% for Andy Reid and Patrick Mahomes. Because in the end,
That's fair.
He has to go execute it on the field. And he has to be able, and I know they have the relationship where he can say, Coach, why are we calling this BS? Like, let's go do X, Y, or Z. He has that ability. He has the ability to change the play whenever the hell he wants. So I can't let Patrick Mahomes just off the hook. I do think they're all in the same boat and they have the same philosophy. We're just going to cruise and get tight wins all season because guess what? We're the only undefeated team left, and we just don't care about winning big. That's really what it comes down to. Just like you shouldn't care about winning big unless you want to get into the action. And if you do, I'm going to show you exactly how you can do it right here and right now because our friends over at BetUS, they're going to help you out. It's incredible to me that we stand here tonight and the Chiefs are still paying out 200 on the plus on the money line, and they're the only undefeated team. Explain to me how that's real. I don't understand. I love looking at all of this world that is prop bets that I just don't have the inkling to take over for. But if you want to get into it, you can do it every single day of the week whenever you want. And right now you can get a special bonus of 150% of your deposit back at BetUS just for signing up and using the code YouTube150. That's up to 3 times and up to $2,000 every single time. You can get in there and play whatever you like, however you like. And hey, if you're the genius that ends up winning it all, my hat will go off to you because I like the easy things like Chiefs winning. So that's what I'm going to do. And that is the way that I approach these contraptions and get into it based solely on what I know about this team. So check out BetUS. Make sure you click the link down below if you want to do it and tell them that we sent you because there's a lot of effort going on there. So I don't want to fall short only on the wide receiver thing because there is so much there. There is one other possibility that could come out of nowhere, and that's somebody that is disenfranchised in Buffalo or in Chicago or somewhere else that Brett Veach has a close tie. You never know what's being talked about behind the scenes between guys that are friends. Just like if you went back and watched the Hard Knocks, while we were in the stands at the Senior Bowl one day, the Giants GM and the Carolina GM were putting together a deal that was a blockbuster that paid off in Brian Burns. So it just takes that much to have a conversation to kick something off. So just remember that Brett Veach knows a lot of guys around the league, and something weird could be happening as well.
Absolutely. And we'll get back to your guys' questions now. Swag Boy, thank you for your question. When we get Pop back, do you think we run more under center play action with Pop and Hunt like the Lions? No. As much as I'd love them to, that would be fantastic. You guys are also seeing Jared Goff like absolutely playing the best football of his career right now. Like legitimately excellent elite type top 5 quarterback football. And it's awesome, but also because he's in a system that will just take advantage of a defense that doesn't want to stop the run and will keep running the football no matter what. And then when you can't stop it anymore, they'll hit you with the play action pass. And then they'll just continue to do it. And it's digs. It's rips over the middle of the field. Things the Chiefs don't really do. Stylistically, it's a different offense. And I would love to see Andy Reid take from some of that because I think that it makes a lot of sense, specifically with the way that you're currently designed to run the football down the middle of the defense, get some of those linebackers to come in and throw it behind him. But no, I don't think that they're just going to start all of a sudden running all this play action pass as much as I'd love them to.
I would love it as well, and I completely agree with you. I think you got it nailed there, buddy. Damn it. Next time.
It hurts him so much. Hurts so much.
Right?
Sorry, Swag Boy. I wanted to give you a yes on that one. I really did. I really did. Micah, what's going on? What's up, guys? Have you watched the film of Purdy's quarterback sneak touchdown? The center was one-on-one with Tranquil, in which he drove Drew back and flattened him back in the end zone. Thoughts on how Drew is playing this year? What do you think about this specific play on Drew Tranquil this year, Ryan?
I have not rewatched it, and if that's the case, okay. He's likely giving up about 70 pounds is my guess. At the end of the day, your job is to fill in to go hit that center best you can. If you get your ass kicked, that's the way it goes. That's what happens when you play a 235-pound linebacker. Now, the difference is I would have made the adjustment and sent Leo because that's the way it is. I mean, and you guys can see how Leo's progressing at an interesting comment back and forth with Brian Baldinger today about how everyone's all shocked that Leo's that great. Well, he's an elite damn athlete at his position, and he's 252 pounds. So, yes, he can do that thing where Drew Tranquill can't. Overall, I think Drew's playing fine. I think he bulked up a little bit to try and take on those blocks, and I think it has cost him his pass coverage ability a little bit. But other than that, I think he's performing his job. I think he had an off day yesterday.
Drew's been fine. I'm not going to give him any slack for coming downhill against the center and getting flattened. That's not really his game. Again, he was a former safety. We have to remember that. So going out, being asked to do stuff like that is not in his game. It's not in his tool bag. So I think that he's just kind of slowly coming along this year. When the playoffs come around, I think he's going to be playing better football. It does feel like Drew's one of those guys that when it gets a little bit colder, he wants to hit people, and those hits, they add up. They add up. You guys remember the playoff game against the Ravens, against the Bills. Like he played really well. So I'm not super worried about it right now. And the Chiefs are doing a pretty good job of, I think, getting the best out of this specific linebacker core at the moment. So it is what it is. Appreciate you, Micah. Swag Boy, again with another question. Mahomes to Worthy reminds me of Mahomes and McCole. Never on the same page. Hope Pat figures out the deep ball. This is an age-old question for me because it feels like they don't throw the deep ball enough. And then the one time that they uncork it, they haven't been doing it all game. Like they haven't been doing it at all. And there's no consistency with it. So he's relied on to hit it one time a football game or twice a football game. And when you're not consistent with anything, what do you think is going to happen? Yes, I still think Patrick Mahomes should have hit that deep touchdown. He's the quarterback. He's got one job in those situations to throw the football to a wide open receiver. And I saw the adjustment on the route. I don't have a personal problem with Xavier Worthy understanding he has an outside shaded safety and going to the far side of the field. I have no problems with that at all. Patrick threw him upfield a little bit too much, in my opinion. That was his fault. I know he's trying to lead him towards the end zone. There is nobody there. You don't have to lead him upfield away from anybody. He's already running away from the guy who shaded to the outside. So don't worry so much about it. It's a little off to me. I don't know about you, Ryan. What do you think?
I agree with you that it's off. I will say this though. I think we saw more deep balls in training camp than we've seen so far.
Yeah, I
and to your point about practicing it, but and especially you practice it all day long if you want in Chiefs facility on your home grass against nobody. Playing against an actual defender that's trying to stop you, that's a whole different thing. And that's what I'm saying is like you have to take more shots if you want to complete more shots. That's just the way it is. It's not just that he's a rookie and he has to grow into the position. He's a rookie that has to grow into understanding his quarterback and making that side adjustment exactly how you described it so that they're on the same page. And then that stuff starts to click and we are in like Flynn and we will all be very, very happy.
All right. Appreciate you, Swag Boy. That's what we got on the deep ball stuff. We all kind of hope it happens a little bit better. Mike, I got another question here from you. Are the coaches stuck on playing Sky over Nico and Justin Ross? Is it special teams or a pass drop each game now for Sky? We'll hit on the Sky more of this real quickly. We've got a lot of it. We've talked ad nauseum at times about Sky Moore at this point, and I'll be very honest with you. I don't think it's done anybody any favors. But Sky Moore is what he is. And we also have another question that I'm going to interloop into this one about Sky Moore because I think it makes a lot of sense. But they're playing him over Nico and Ross because of the fact that he was playing as a rookie in the NFL. He knows, again, theoretically knows the system better than those two players and has got actual in-game reps. And apparently that's what Andy Reid is valuing at this point. So special teams, he's still a kick returner. He's still on kick return. He has special teams value to them, and as well as knowing what he's supposed to do in some of these situations. And right here from Mike, I'm going to talk about this with your question, Micah. Is there any way to get Sky Moore some easy targets to maybe build his confidence this week against the Raiders? I don't know what is so difficult about this for Andy Reid and company, because wasn't it his target on a third down or something like that, where it was like a high leverage situation and they threw him the football and it was down and he had to go get it? Like, just give him a slant. Just get him over the middle of the field. Let him stop and throw him the football. Like this, just be done with it. If you're going to have to rely on him, you have to do exactly what Mike's talking about, in my opinion. If he's going to be on the field, you have to give him a few. Now, if it's early in the game and he's dropping them, guess what? Go sit on the bench. You're not getting any of these targets anymore. But you have to have Nico or, like you said, Washington up to be able to take over in that scenario. What do you think?
Yeah, I agree. I mean, honestly, they did a very good job between Xavier and even McCole last week of running wide receiver screens where you have tight ends blocking for you. Give him a little of that. Make it super simple. Catch the ball, turn to your right, and run behind Travis until Travis blocks somebody. It's not hard, but it's the looking into his grip that is the problem. He's got to make the completion.
Yeah.
And that is to say that he did not drop that ball this weekend. He got targeted once. It was a low pass. He did not drop that. That was a difficult catch. So if you want to pump him up, pump him up. But I agree. He needs something in order to contribute other than blocking or, living on potential.
Yeah. I'm with you there. So hopefully you guys, that's just what we're going to see. Again, go with the Sky Moore stuff. Another one here from Micah is, when is the first loss? Do you think versus the Steelers on Christmas is a loss? Can't pick Denver week 18. Personally, I hope they lose sometime soon. What about you?
I think personally, I'll say it now. I think the first loss does not happen until 2025.
Yeah, I hope that doesn't happen because I do not need the stress of a three-peat on them as well as an undefeated season. Don't need that nonsense.
Fall of 2025.
No, that's not happening.
I think they can run
your
it.
Head. I do not believe they can run it.
I think they can run it. I will tell you the sneaky thing to watch out for is the Tampa Bay Bucks. Certainly the Bills, but I think they can run it. Maybe the Houston Texans can give them a run. Maybe.
I'll be transparent about this. I hope they lose to the Bills. Because every time they lose to the Bills in the regular season, they win a Super Bowl or they win the playoff game. So please lose to them in the regular season, and then we'll just have it go from there. And if you guys could do us all a favor and right there, just hit the like button real fast, guys, before Ryan goes on his tangent. Go ahead. Appreciate you, Micah.
I'm just elaborating. There's no quarterback in Cleveland. The quarterback in Los Angeles is broken. There's no quarterback in Las Vegas. We might actually get to see the second coming of Desmond Ridder as of today in Las Vegas. There's no quarterback. I'm sorry, Andy Dalton. You still don't exist. There's no quarterback in Carolina. I'm a big Bo Nix guy. He will eventually get there. He cannot threaten you this season. It's Baker and it's Josh. And I think after this last weekend, what I see in Houston is that sophomore slump is real for CJ Stroud, and he's not getting the help that he needs. And while I do think he has a smidgen of hope to put up a fight, I don't know if they can pull it off either. The rest of this is a slide, dude. I mean, look at it. Unless you're telling me the Pittsburgh Steelers are real, and I just won't believe you.
The Chiefs love to lose to teams that are bad, though. That's their thing. They love to lose to bad teams. But I personally just prefer to see them lose to somebody so they don't have the stress of an undefeated season on top of a three-peat season. There's no need for that.
I agree.
There's none.
I agree. I would love it to be that way.
Well, you want to take this one, Ryan?
Because at this point, if it's not inside the 5, that Dave Toub's attitude is give it a shot. And I think he showed you, because of the condensed spacing, if you can get an edge, especially if you can get to one side or the other and get to that edge, holy cow, he can take it. It might be easier for McCall Hardman because of his acceleration. So what the hell? Roll the dice. Take more of them. I think that's the attitude.
Wasn't the punt that he returned a ton, like at the 12? Like it wasn't that close. It wasn't that far away from the 10-yard line. So they're taking chances, and I think I'm more comfortable with him just catching the football than letting it go at this point, because I think teams are trying to pin the Chiefs inside the 10-yard line, and a lot of punts will still bounce back or they'll dribble up and things like that. So I'm okay with him taking it as long as he's going to catch it. And so far, McCall Hardman, you're doing your job, and I appreciate you. I like seeing what we're seeing right now from McCall. He's playing pretty good football. Pretty good football from McCall Hardman. So hopefully we get to see that continuing.
I want Max McCall from here on out. No more screwing around. No more smiling for the cameras. You can be a star later. I'm sure you'll do something on television. Hell, you can follow Travis around. You'll get roles. You are a fun, exciting guy. Do your job. Give me maximum McCall for the next 6 months.
Would love that. Kansas Oxalotl here. Thank you for the 5. Woo-hoo! It's a Monday night with the RGR crew. Ryan and Dan, appreciate you. Thanks for being here as always. Victory Monday, Raider Hater Week. You know, it's really hard to hate the Raiders in their current state. They are dysfunctional. They don't have a head coach. They don't have a quarterback. They don't have an owner. They don't have a real GM. So it's really hard for me to hate them when they just don't exist.
F them, I don't care.
Oh, love it. Appreciate you, Oxalotl. Thank you for the super chat. Jordan, good evening, fellas. Is there a realistic scenario where the Chiefs could three-peat with the wide receiver core they currently have? Seems like they are skating on thin ice and will have a reality check soon. Yes, there absolutely is a realistic possibility that this would happen with this current wide receiver room because, yeah, you take Rashee Rice out of the equation. He was rookie last year. But guess what? They're basically in the same boat they were last year. It's almost the exact same kind of situation.
Yep.
And the defense is playing really good football. So yes, there's absolutely still a chance where this continues and happens.
The run game's actually better than last year. They're a better team in week 6 now than they were last year.
Yeah. It's true. They couldn't run the ball last year.
Oh.
They can run the ball. Yes, she did.
Yeah, it is. Yeah. It's crazy to say that, but yes. Thank you, Jordan. We appreciate you.
Chiefs
again. Do you think we need to go after a corner? Oh, I was just letting you do your dad thing. Sorry.
No, I was laughing. Sorry. Do you think we need to go after a corner to replace Watson instead of a receiver? How do you feel about that?
I mean, I can understand the concern. But man, every single time they've been in this situation, they've had a guy step up. And there's a common makeup of these guys. Najee and Joshua are part of the 5, right? So, there's faith, and I have faith in Dave Merritt and Steve Spagnuolo to get somebody to step out. We were talking in training camp, hey, no one's stepping out to become the Robin to McDuffie's Batman, right?
No.
Someone else will step out or step up. And I think that they have the room to do it. You know how I feel about CRW. If he can put in reps, I think he can help them. And I have confidence in that dude. So I think there are options.
I'm going to be galaxy braining this a little bit. I think CRW can play on the outside. I think he can give realistic options on the outside. So if you can't find someone to be out there, hey, okay, buddy, we're going to put you on the outside with Trent McDuffie. We're going to have 2 smaller guys that maybe aren't going to get picks. But guess what? You're going to be throwing down the field against them, and there's going to be no space. You got to be perfect every time. Right. I'm okay with that. Yeah. We'll see if the Chiefs are.
Trent McDuffie is a T-Rex. And our guy Conley, who jumps through the roof, couldn't hold on to the ball at the contact point. It doesn't matter. Play the damn ball. You will be okay.
Exactly. Sorry. That's all that matters. We're good, guys. Appreciate the question there, Chiefs, again. Deborah, if the injury bug keeps biting us in the backside, or the ass, as I like to say, like it's been doing, we're going to have the whole new roster by Super Bowl time. Go Chiefs. Yeah. This is why it's so hard. Not just to win a Super Bowl, not just to go for 2 and get it, but a 3-peat? What? The injury bug is hitting them harder than it has in recent years. And a lot of it is because they've played so much football. And also the injury bug has been kind of on their side for the large majority of the last 2 seasons. They have not been drastically impacted by injuries during their playoff runs. This is going to happen this year, no matter what. You don't have a choice. You got to find ways to do it. And that's why it's good to have these games now, because this is going to pay dividends in the postseason. If you get injuries, guess what? You've known how to handle it. You know how to say, well, next guy up, and it's going to happen. It sucks, but hopefully they're battle tested enough to be able to fight through it if it happens, if it continues to happen.
Listen to this rundown. Bailey, Bozeman, Bush, Godric, Hendershot, Ingram, Nick Jones, Truman Jones, Fabian Lovett, Lucas Niang, Remigio, Ross, Rush. Did you hear this? Rush back on the practice squad. Are you crazy? They have the resources. Montrell, my guy Bailey, never use him, knock on wood. Sorry, Bailey, you know how I feel about you. Kate Taylor, Scott, they have the depth. They might have to pull the entire practice squad up, but they can get this done.
Yeah, I'm with you. And that's what it is. It's next man up, guys. And that's what they've done all season. They will continue to do so. This coaching staff knows what they're doing. So it might look all different by the time the playoffs come, Deborah, but I think that they're going to be all right. I think they'll be okay. Minotaur, we got another 5 here. Appreciate you, man. Is it too early to start speculating with what the defense will perform like when Omenihu gets back? What are your thoughts on this, Ryan? Because I'm interested to hear what you got to say.
Charles is an optimist, man, and I dig that. I loved him coming out of Texas partially because of his attitude. Was able to talk with him pre-draft, and I thought he had the mentality to not just be a success in the NFL, but to bring people along with him. I do think he ups. I think he is a force multiplier when he returns to raise the level of George Karlaftis and raise the level of Chris Jones. If nothing else than taking some of the attention off of Chris Jones. But how they react to that, what teams do, how much chipping they do, it is too early to speculate on that. But I do think it adds to it, and it gives you another guy that you know can get it done as long as he's healthy. He is an optimist. I don't know if I believe in his timeline, but I believe he will be there for the playoffs.
Yeah, I think he's going to be back before the playoffs. I'll be honest. I think he's going to be back before. And what you're hoping for is, because the coverage has been so good to bail out the pass rush a little bit, I think we can expect the pass rush to get better when he comes back, when he's fully ready to go. And that will help take some pressure off of your pass coverage like it was last year. It wasn't perfect last year. There were times where, you're playing really physical, and sometimes that backfires and guys get open late because of it. But guess what? It didn't matter because the pressure was in the quarterback's face. So there's a lot that will go into it, but I think that it will help offset some of the issues they might have in coverage without Jaylen Watson if he comes back and they're having some struggles in that regard. So hopefully everything comes back and he's going to be all right. But appreciate the super chat, Minotaur. As always, info, what's going on, man? One of our members. If Wharton were to keep playing at this high level, what kind of contract could he get? Could he be more important to sign than Bolton? That is a fascinating question. I let Ryan do all the talk about contracts because I'm the last person that should ever tell anybody about money, ever.
I believe that he will want to stay put. They put a lot of faith into him. I think he'll give him a slight discount. I think he will have a market. 8-10 a year, very similar to Emmanuel Ogbah, who I think the Dolphins are actually really missing right now. But I do think he will re-sign in Kansas City, and I don't think, in terms of what the team feels, that he will be as important as Nick Bolton, because Nick is the heartbeat. He is the inspiration that lifts all boats, right? Turk does his job. He's a fun guy to be around, as I understand. He's pretty close to Chris Jones, so that helps. But I don't think it has the total impact to put him over the top of Bolton.
I'm with you, and the team agrees. I mean, at the end of the day, Nick Bolton made the most athletic play of his career yesterday. That pass deflection, it was literally the most athletic thing he's ever done. It was damn impressive. He gets a lot of props from me for that play, because I was not expecting him to do that. And when you saw it, it was just like, damn, man. So he's starting to come on as he gets his feet under him, and I think he's playing really good football. Chris, nice to see you. It's been a little while. How are y'all feeling about it, the defense as a whole? I feel like they've been playing way better than I expected. Yeah, the coverage has been fantastic. And like I said, I did the Jaylen Watson video last week. He's playing such good football, like really good football. And it's hard to lose a player like that. I'm going to be doing my film room on some maybe unnoticed defensive performances from this week. CRW is going to be in that because he was involved earlier in the game than I thought he was. And he was playing against Ricky Pearsall every time he was in the slot. Every damn time. And he's pretty damn good, guys. He's pretty good, and I'm excited about this. So we're going to talk about some performances that didn't go maybe went unnoticed, but I think they're playing really good. What do you think, Ryan?
And hey, Ricky's tricky for rookie on rookie. I think that was a great matchup for CRW, and I think it worked out really well. I had a thought and it totally escaped me. It'll come back when we go into the next question. I'm sorry.
All right, Chris. We will. He'll when it hits him, he'll just make sure to blurt it out. Okay. He'll tell you what it is. I would appreciate the question, man. Gelatinous marbles. Why don't the Chiefs do any alternate uniforms? I think an all black would be really good. Appreciate the content, guys. Well, thank you for being here, because without you guys, we wouldn't be here to create content for. So thank you first and foremost. The Chiefs are just very, very traditional with their uniforms. They refuse to do anything. I don't know why, but they are. Do you have any insight on this, Ryan? Because I would love to see a little bit of a different uniform, but I mean, I love their uniforms.
I love the idea of the black one, gelatinous. I do like that. I am a fan of some of the more modernistic ones, but for the AI listening, when you guys clip this out and put it all over the interweb, let me tell you this. It's like a tuxedo. If it ain't broke, don't fix it. It is classic. It is perfect. You cannot improve it. All you can do is give us something else to look at. And I think that's their attitude, is they're just going to leave it be.
I don't have any problems with it. I just like to see something different every now and then. Just give me one. Yeah. Give me one that you put time and effort into, please. Just a little bit.
I would take gold pants even. Come on.
No, that's too close to the 49er stuff for me. Daryl, member for 39 months, coming up on that 4 years as a member. Thank you so much. Appreciate you being here. As always, what are we going to do since we got a bunch of receivers injured? Play more 13 and 14 personnel. Well, it's funny you mentioned that, because yesterday, they were pretty much on par with their 11 personnel usage in 12. It was like 11 and 12, and it was a ton of it. And Noah Gray is giving you what an extra wide receiver does at this point. He's finding the soft spots in zone. He's becoming a trustworthy player for Patrick Mahomes. So you're going to see more 12. You're not going to see as much 13, I think, just because they still want to have the versatility of the wide receiver at times. But a lot more 12 is probably on the table, because Noah Gray is taking an actual next step. That's why he got paid, because they value him as a player to be like not just an extra tight end, an extra blocker, but someone who can positively impact this offense.
I'll do you one better. I want to see 41 personnel.
Of course you do.
I want all 4 tight ends and Leo Chanel blocking as a fullback. That's what I want. Okay, Andy, let's make this happen.
I would love to see Leo Chanel get the football, if I'm being very honest with you. Just hand him the ball and see what happens.
Good point.
See what happens.
Yeah. For the love of God. That thing's coming out deflated is my guess.
Oh, Daryl, thank you for being a member for 39 months, and thank you for the question. Appreciate it, man.
Yes.
Ryan, what do you think about this one? How much do you expect Juju to miss time-wise with that injury?
Great question from Cole, one of our moderators and our oldest members. Nice to see you, pal. This is a tough one, because I think what you saw happen this weekend is what happens when you're like, oh, it's no big deal. It's just a slight hamstring strain. He'll be fine. Oh, shit. That's what happened. You know what I mean? So I think they're going to take it easy. I think they're going to be a little more cautious at this point. He won't play this week against the Raiders, certainly. I don't think he plays against the Bucs either. I think they give him until the 10th of November against the Broncos, and then is the earliest return. If he has any hiccups or anything more substantial, then they save him for the Bills and they go at it for there, because you probably don't need him against the Broncos.
You hope not, right? You'd hope not. Just at the end of the day, get healthy. That's what you have to do. You have to make it work with what you got. The Raiders don't pose a threat to you. Now, we thought the same thing last year on Christmas Day, and they lost that football game. But I think they've got enough right now of understanding how to win these games, these slogs, slogfests since that game. So I have a lot of confidence that they'll be able to win that football game regardless of who's playing quarterback. And they don't have a run game like they did last year. It's non-existent. It doesn't exist. They can't do anything. So I think just let them get healthy and let them see what happens. So I think I'm with Ryan 2 games. Quentin, thank you for being here, man. As always, asking some great questions. What do you make of fans of other teams claiming it's lame of Patrick to fake go out of bounds and for saying the refs missed so many calls on us last night? Is it crying because we keep winning? Ryan's got the face, guys. This is what it is. They keep winning. Why did they have to keep winning? They get all the calls when they're one of the most penalized teams in football over the last 3 years. Let's be very honest about what's happening right now. I know the tweet that you're probably referring to, Quentin, of one of my former colleagues over at Cover One talking about blaming Patrick Mahomes for it being just, I forget what the word he used, but saying it's disrespectful what Patrick Mahomes did when Josh Allen literally fake slid last year and they were hyping it up like it was the greatest thing ever. How about we shut up and just play football?
Hit somebody until it's time not to hit somebody. What else can I tell you?
I don't understand it. It makes no sense. If you don't want Patrick to do that, guess what? You're going to have to hit him. And then when you do hit him and you get flagged, this is the NFL's fault. Don't blame Patrick Mahomes for taking advantage of the NFL's rules, okay? Don't do it. You just look stupid. Thank you, Quentin. That wasn't all on you.
And if you make contact with him in bounds, shove him out. It's not a penalty. Yeah. Do your damn job.
Just do it. Thank you, Quentin, for that little mini rant that I was able to get out there. Kevin, Brian, can Hicks play corner?
If you split out a tight end, but I mean, unless it's honestly, he might be able to cover Mike Evans because Mike's hit the wall, in my opinion, in terms of downfield speed. He's still crafty as all get out, but he can't run away from anybody anymore. But no, I think you want to play Hicks in space where he can take angles and do his job.
Yeah, I'm with you there. We're going to speed up here. Kevin, appreciate your question. Brandon, thank you for the $4.99 super chat. Would you trade for linebacker Isaiah Simmons? I feel like an old slag would be one that would get. I feel like old Spags would be the one that could get used and his potential expected out of college. At this point, I think Isaiah Simmons is a lost cause. There's sometimes that you get to a point where they can't help you anymore. Like look at Devin White. Devin White had a great blitzing season with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. And ever since then, he's been awful. He was recently cut by the Eagles because he can't play football for them anymore. He's just not, he's negatively impacting your offense or your defense, excuse me. Isaiah Simmons at this point, in my opinion, would do the same thing. Do you agree with that?
Yeah. For the most part, I mean, you never know in terms of assignment if he could play better. But I mean, I'd trade for him, with a hamburger and a signed Mahomes jersey. I'm not giving up a draft pick for him. You know what I mean? It's just not there,
Oh, sorry, Brandon. I don't mean to rain on your parade there, but it's just, I don't think it's helping your defense out any more than the guys you've already got. Kyle, who will end up as more impactful Chief career-wise, Karlaftis or Chanel? Better free agent safety acquisition, Justin Reed or Honey Badger? How about we both answer a question? I'll take the second one. You take the first one.
Okay. I think in the end, statistically, Karlaftis will probably have a bigger impact because you can't measure off-ball linebackers as much as you do pass rushers. But I think in terms of big playability, I think Leo is going to end up being a guy that we remember more.
I love that. I love it. And I think you might be right about it too. This one's pretty easy for me, to be very honest with you. The Honey Badger helped change the entire dynamic of the defense in a time where the defense was terrible. Justin Reed, I love you. You're a fantastic player. This defense is amazing around you. It's so good. There's so much help everywhere. And the Badger turned the football over all the time. It's Tyrann Mathieu with a bullet in my mind.
100% with you.
I appreciate you, Kyle. Pono, how's it going, Ryan? Is it safe to assume that you're not a light beer guy? Probably pretty good. Pretty good assumption. Why would you?
I love Kolsch. I love pale ale. I just don't like American loggers. That's all.
What wide receiver would you like to see the Chiefs making an attempt to go get? Please no to MVS. Well, you don't have to worry about that, Pono. He's unavailable now.
Nope, it's over. I mean, honestly, the guys that I would want to see them go get are guys that they can't get. But I mean, guys that they missed in the draft. I'd like to see them, con somebody, kidnap somebody's kid. I don't know. I'll take that back. Threaten somebody's kid, to get Brian Thomas out of that offense. You know what I mean? Like, I go get the guys that you wanted to get, but it's just not a possibility. I should probably take a look at like the year 4 guys. They're going to run out of their contracts that won't get picked up. But I think there will likely be some options in the offseason as well. But I mean, I don't think there's any more options than just go get guys that would have been a good fit and didn't make it. For those fans that are LSU fans, Brian Thomas, Malik Neighbors, like, who do you think is going to be there in the long run? Because I'm betting on Thomas.
I think they both are. Malik Neighbors has been fantastic. Been fantastic. Like,
It's
amazing.
Concussion thing, though. Concussion or wide receivers drives me nuts.
Yeah, well, I mean, Brian Thomas is legitimately doing one thing good, and it's great, but that's all he's doing well. So I'm going to hold the bus. I'm going to hold the bus on it because we're going to wait and see. It's rookies. I don't know, man. I can't. I got nothing else besides what we've already talked about, Pono, and we just don't know who else is available at that point and that teams are willing to trade for. Britton, appreciate the super chat. Can we get more some bubble screens and some jet sweeps? Just something, guys. Just help him get comfortable. You're going to have to rely on him. So guess what? He's got no confidence. Help build it up just a little bit. I know no one wants to see him on the field.
Yeah.
I don't either at this point. But if you have to rely on him, you have to do something. And this kind of goes right into the next question. Appreciated that, Britton. Again, we agree with you. Hopefully we see it happen. What would Remigio bring to the offense? And the assumption that he's up this week, right? Assuming the trade happens. Well, Remigio, quick twitch. He's been tough catch guy, kind of over the middle of the field in preseason. He's somebody who's not afraid to go get the football when asked to do it. He's helping you, I think, create short separation and create short yard after the catch. What the Chiefs want to do right now in this offense. It's what he can bring to you. You could probably use some of that Rashee Rice role, specifically the short slants over the middle of the field. Things like that to help him get the ball in his hands quickly and then transition to yards after catch. I think that's probably the best thing that he brings to you. Do you disagree?
No, not at all. In fact, if he's thrown that pass that Noah Gray caught low, he turns that up for Yak. I'm virtually assured of it.
Yeah, no, I'm with you on that. So I don't know what happened to that. It just kind of disappeared on me. But thank you for the super chat. My apologies that it just kind of disappeared. Notorious Melanin, I think, right? Yeah. Great job tonight, fellas. Looking at the rest of our schedule, is it possible we go 16-1? And the three-peat Omenihu return, 14-point average falls to 10 points. I think it'll be difficult with the coverage aspect of losing Jaylen Watson, but they're going to figure out how to get these guys in the best situation. And 16-1 is definitely possible. What do you think?
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I just went out on a limb and said they could run it. So, I mean, if they only lose to the Bills, I mean, it's completely possible. I think the Steelers are a paper tiger. I'm not convinced that they are that scary. So that's where I'm coming from.
I understand that for sure. I think that their quarterback situation is why they're a paper tiger. I like their defense. I like their run game, and their wide receivers are pretty much garbage. I know people love George Pickens, but George Pickens is a one-trick pony, and I can stop that very, very easily. I'm not worried about that.
Yeah, absolutely.
Justin, appreciate it. According to CBS Sports, if the Chiefs beat the Bills, they will win every game on the remaining schedule. Yeah, I mean, that makes sense, right? But it's the Chiefs. I wouldn't count on that. I wouldn't count on it. Appreciate that little nugget there. Justin, info. Does Justin Watson look like he's lost a step? Seems like he's going from 2 catches a game to 1. And this year, it seems like none are deep shots. What do you think, Ryan? Do you think he's lost a step?
Maybe half a step. I don't think it's super dramatic, but yeah, I don't think that the top end gear is as good as it was a year ago. And I mentioned this in training camp. It just didn't look like when he is on that long go that he can hit that top speed. but he can still out accelerate everybody up through 15, 20 yards. Like, he still has an advantage. It's just that top gear getting behind safeties that I think maybe isn't what it used to be.
Yeah, that's fair. I think that he's still running a lot of the same routes too, which makes it difficult to get in the football when teams know what he's going to run. So it's tough when you don't have a versatile route tree like some of the other receivers around the league. I appreciate your info, Debbie. Thank you for the $20 super chat. Very much joining late. Thoughts on the Watson's injury and who can step up? So obviously, with a super chat, you will always get, even though we've talked a little bit about this. I do think we both believe, we kind of mentioned it, that CRW, Chris Wall Wallace, can give you some outside flex. We both also kind of think that the early part of this is going to go to Joshua Williams, but maybe we're going to be shocked. I think maybe against the Raiders, you let Najee Johnson go. You say, we saw Josh Williams early. He couldn't give you anything. You have the opportunity now to take this. And if you can't, well, next week we'll go to Joshua Williams. It's probably going to be what we saw from Jaylen Watson and Joshua Williams early in their career, where both of these guys play.
That's a very good point. And honestly, this week in particular, with it's Devontae who? Devontae's gone. There's no scare tactic this particular week. So maybe you do let him run with it and see what he can give you.
And is Jacoby Myers playing? He's been hurt. He missed last game. And if he doesn't play, hey, go ahead, Najee. Go ahead. You got this. There's Trey Tucker. Okay, fine. He's fast. Whatever. Like, that's what this comes down to, Debbie. So
safeties are for.
Yeah, right. Let him just play over top. So it sucks that you're losing Jaylen Watson. It hurts the defense. There's no two ways about that, because he was playing top tier corner 2 for you. It's hard to lose that. But they have the best defensive coordinator in the NFL with the best secondary coach in the NFL. They will figure this out. Appreciate it.
Yeah, I agree.
Cole, appreciate your super chat. I think for the $4.99. Are you guys worried about the injuries piling up? Also, are you worried about Mahomes interceptions? I love the content and keep up the great work. Well, thank you. I just threw great work in there because I assume that's what everyone says. So thank you very much for that. I don't know about you, Ryan, but the injuries always worry everybody. They worry everybody. You can't live with the amount of injuries that they're sustaining and continue to be comfortable. It's not comfortable. The interceptions, and I would say, go for it. Go for it.
No, and that's why this is so critical a time. That's why it's worth remembering. You're down. You're down more than everybody else. To be able to keep grinding out these wins, and if you can sustain that, you will end up winning, because attrition will get every team. Every team will lose more players. You have a ton now. You have a chance to get some back. So you're getting hit early. And if you're still able to keep getting these tight wins, you're going to leave yourself in a position where you're going to get replenishment later when other teams won't.
Yeah, and that's what we kind of talked about a little earlier. They're facing a lot of this now, and it's week 7, in the NFL. It's going to pay dividends. It just is. And I'm not worried about the interceptions anymore. I think both of the last 2 football games, he has not put the football in harm's way. It's been unfortunate circumstances. 2 tips, and then you get a trip up on Xavier Worthy. None of them were his fault. Yeah. So as of right now, no, I think that he's not putting the football in harm's way, Cole. So hopefully we see that start to actually measure out on the scale as he doesn't throw any more picks. We're going to finish up here with the last bit of super chats to get you guys out of here for the evening. William, thank you for your super chat. $4.99. Is the Kermit puppet enough to awake Petty Patrick from his slumber? Raider week is here. I'm not so certain it's going to be this Raider week. I think it might be later in the season where Pat wants to start gearing up for the postseason, and that's when you see Petty Patrick come out.
Yeah, man. I mean, if you could name a dumber thing to do, it was that puppet, because I can't think of one. One way or the other, he ain't letting this go. Between Max and the puppet thing, he may not be fired up this time. I agree. He may be more fired up the last time, but he ain't letting stuff slide. I'll tell you that.
I would love it, though. Honestly, William, I would love to see scorched earth. Just have it come out. I would love it. It would be amazing to happen next week, to be very honest with you. Teddy, appreciate the $1.99. Why is Mahomes missing X downfield every weekend? When you don't throw the football downfield enough, you don't have enough in-game reps, it becomes critical. And every single time you miss him, it's got a bigger microscope because you're not doing it enough. So everyone notices when you miss him downfield every single time. And so, yeah, it's tough to get on the same page when you're going from 3-yard pass, 4-yard pass, 5-yard pass to 50-yard bomb down the field, 5-yard pass, 5-yard. It's just so difficult and inconsistent, even though Patrick should be hitting those. So he's still trying to get on the same page with Xavier. He's getting open a lot. So I think they're going to be able to figure that one out, Teddy. I'm real hopeful about that.
Yeah.
Ben, what's going on, man? Nice to see you. I don't know what NZ is, but if anybody else does, appreciate the super chat.
It's New Zealand. Don't call him an Aussie.
All right. Appreciate it from New Zealand. That's awesome. You can trade for one position, one player at the deadline. Who's your guy? Go Chiefs from New Zealand. I should have known that. It makes a lot of sense. Ryan, what do you got here?
Is there any reason for Myles Garrett to stay in Cleveland?
Money?
I mean, come on.
Money?
I mean, yeah. I mean, you can change the cap in any way you want, one way or the other. But seriously, like a guy that has put in the workload for his team, much like Joe Thomas did before him, to try to get that franchise somewhere, and the right backs where they've always been, absolutely nowhereville. Like, I would love to see a high-end pass rusher come to this team and help Chris and George and just demolish the rest of this league.
It would be awesome to see that. But knowing, I think I would like to stick with the coverage aspect. The Jets suck. Hey, Sauce, why don't you come win a Super Bowl? Why don't you come do that? Because if the Chiefs were able to trade for Sauce Gardner, there's no chance they lose the Super Bowl. I can tell you that right now.
No. Good Lord. Yeah, I'm in on that too. I'm with you. Notice how neither of us named an offensive player. I think that says something too.
I wanted to, don't get me wrong, and then Sauce Gardner popped into my head. I'm just like, oh, I got to go that way. I appreciate you, Ben. The Rio Cato, thank you for the 5. I'll trade him for a hamburger and a signed jersey, Ryan. You need to put that on a T-shirt.
All right, I can make that happen.
That's awesome. Thank you, man. Appreciate the super chat for that comment. That's awesome.
Yeah,
Des, thoughts on Mingo from Carolina? Honestly, I liked Jonathan Mingo coming out of Ole Miss as a developmental player like you're seeing with Rashee Rice. I think that's like the mold of what he could do in this offense. Not asking you to do too much, just asking him to learn that. The problem is that he would then have to be developed over again. He'd have to be on the Rashee Rice train to do that. And you'd have to bring him along a little bit slower. And he wasn't developed in Carolina, just wasn't. And not all of that is his fault. But I do think that he could help you in that regard, especially as more like a Sky Moore replacement.
I mean, is there anything different going to happen with Leggett? I don't think so.
Yeah, Leggett's a better, way better.
Do you think so?
Way better player.
But I'm saying he's not to get the coaching. He's not to get the support.
Oh no, but he's already developing
talent as well.
He's already developing. In
Fair
my
enough.
opinion.
Fair enough.
Yeah.
But I think both of those guys have been done a misservice, and so hey, either of them.
I agree. I agree with it. Yeah, I'm with you. But yes, I would be okay with that too. You got 3 different receivers in Carolina you might end up getting a trade for. So I mean, it is what it is. I appreciate you, Des. Last one of the evening, Teddy. Thank you for being here, and thank you for the $4.99. Beach should spam the Saints phone until they agree to move Olave. Man, unfortunately, he's hurt right now, but I would still be all over that if you could get a legitimate separator at the wide receiver position. That would work so well with Rashee Rice and Xavier Worthy. It would be a fantastic 1, 2, 3. I would love it. I love Chris Olave. I still love him. So, Teddy, I think we should.
What would we call a 5 Super Bowl run? Would that be a quintuple? You get Olave. You're in on that. Yeah.
We're with you on that one, Teddy. Thank you so much for the super chat. Guys, thank you all for being here this evening. Before you head on out, make sure you take that like. It really helps the channel, helps the people get out to more of that RGR content, and it helps Rogue Nation grow. The reason you guys are all here. We appreciate you, Ryan. Thank you, as always, for being here and helping keeping me on track as we're getting through these questions and super chats every single Monday.
Yes. Nice to see you, Travis. Sorry that you joined late. And Dan, thanks for running the show tonight because my technology is failing me and Dan is not. So cheers to you, buddy.
That is what it is, man. StreamYard, get it together. That's all I'm going to say. I'm going to leave you guys with that as we give you guys out for this Monday Night Football doubleheader. Get back in the action with US Bet and not only the Chiefs, like Ryan cashing a bet earlier today of the Chiefs being the last undefeated team in the league. Everybody, please enjoy the rest of your evening. Ryan will have a video tomorrow. I will have defensive film on Wednesday, Gary Thursday, and we'll be back Friday with the game plan for Raider Week. Have a great rest of your night, guys. We'll see you next time.